Welcome back investors to a new video. Today we are going to discuss a very interesting manufacturing company. This company does not make flashy consumer products, but it manufactures critical components for some of the most important sectors of the economy. It caters to commercial vehicles, tractors, passenger vehicles, industrials, wind energy, oil and gas, railways, construction equipment, heavy engineering, and even large generator applications. The company we are discussing today belongs to the forging sector. Now, before deep diving into the company, it is important to understand the forging industry first. So, forging is not just about making metal parts, but it's actually about manufacturing components that need to survive heavy load, high pressure, continuous vibration, high temperature, safety risk, and long operating life. And that is the reason why forging is used in components like crankshafts, axle beams, gears, shafts, connecting rods, transmission parts, suspension parts, railway parts, valves, flanges, and heavy engineering components, which we will discuss in detail further. So demand for the forging industry does not come from one single sector. Commercial vehicles are one of the biggest demand drivers because trucks and heavy vehicles carry large loads and they require strong forged components. But commercial vehicle demand is cyclical. It depends on freight movement, infrastructure activity, fleet replacement, GDP growth, and overall economic activity. Tractors and farm equipment are another important segment. This segment depends more on rural income, monsoon, crop prices, and government support. So it is less linked to urban consumption and more linked to the agriculture cycle. But the most interesting long-term opportunity is the industrial segment. This includes power, railways, wind, defense, aerospace, oil and gas, heavy engineering, and large generator applications. These segments can improve margins and reduce dependence on auto cycles, and this is exactly where our today's company becomes interesting. Now, the industry demand environment is also quite supportive. 5 out of 6 vehicle categories have recently set all-time annual records. Tractors crossed 10 lakh units. Commercial vehicles returned above 10 lakh units for the first time since pre-COVID, where medium and heavy commercial vehicles are expected to grow around 5 to 7% in FY27. So the only weak pocket has been construction equipment, where volumes declined around 11.7% because of project level delays and a high base. Another important point is how critical forgings are in the cost structure of vehicles. Forging as a percentage of vehicle cost is around 29% in passenger vehicles, 53% in commercial vehicles, and almost 60% in tractors. This is substantial. So for manufacturers, especially in Europe and the US, controlling forging and machining cost becomes extremely important. And this naturally increases outsourcing opportunities for efficient Indian forging players. Globally, the forging market is around $38.5 billion in 2026 and is expected to move toward $56.2 billion in 2034. Whereas India's forging market is around $6 billion and is expected to reach around $10.6 billion by 2034. Now let's understand the value chain. The value chain starts with steel or alloy steel, which is first cut into billets or bars as per the required size. After that, these billets are heated inside a furnace. Here the steel is heated to a very high temperature so that it becomes soft enough to be shaped. Then comes the actual forging stage, where the heated metal is pressed or hammered into the required shape. This is where the component gets its real strength because forging improves the internal grain structure of the metal. After forging, the part goes through heat treatment to improve hardness, toughness, and durability. Then machining gives it the final size, finish, and precision. And because these components are used in critical applications like commercial vehicles, tractors, off-highway equipment, and industrial machines, inspection and testing becomes very important. Only after clearing all quality checks, the final component is supplied to OEMs or Tier 1 customers. So basically, forging is not just shaping metal. It is a complete process where raw steel is converted into a strong, durable, and precision-engineered component. A basic forging company only does forging. A better company does forging plus heat treatment. But a premium company does forging, heat treatment, machining, precision finishing, and testing. And this is exactly where our company is positioned. This matters because entry barriers are much higher when customers require quality approvals, precision machining, testing, reliability history, and long-term supply consistency. So the company we are discussing today is Happy Forgings. Happy Forgings is not staying only in traditional auto forgings. It is gradually moving toward larger, heavier, and more value-added industrial components. The company has transitioned meaningfully into value-added precision forging. Almost 89% of revenue comes from value-added machining, which means the company is not only heating steel and shaping it, but is also doing the finishing, machining, testing, and precision work that customers require before the product can directly go into engines, vehicles, or industrial equipment. This is the core reason why Happy Forgings has stronger margins compared to many larger forging players, as Happy Forging is able to achieve the highest concentration of value-added products among peers, which is approximately 85 to 89%. In traditional forging, value addition is lower, but when forging is combined with machining and precision finishing, realizations improve, customer stickiness improves, and entry barriers become much stronger. Now, coming to products. The most important product for Happy Forgings is crankshafts. Crankshafts contributed around 50% of revenue in FY25 and FY26 and is expected to contribute 58 to 60% by FY28 or FY29. So what is crankshaft? Inside the engine, the piston can only move up and down. The crankshaft converts that movement into a circular motion required by wheels so the vehicle can move forward. But the important part is to understand that crankshafts face very high force again and again. So they need to be extremely strong, reliable, and precisely machined. That is why crankshafts are safety critical components with high entry barriers. Crankshafts used in commercial vehicles, tractors, high horsepower engines, and industrial applications need to withstand much higher loads and pressure compared to passenger vehicles or two-wheelers. This requires strong design capability, heavy forging capability, precision machining, and long customer approvals. This is why competition is limited, and Happy Forgings has built a strong market position in this segment and is the second largest manufacturer of crankshafts in India. Apart from crankshafts, the company also makes axle-related components. Axles support the vehicle's weight, help wheels rotate properly, and transfer power to the wheels. The company also makes differential cases. When a vehicle turns, the outside wheel has to travel more distance than the inside wheel. The differential allows both wheels to rotate at different speeds while still receiving power from the engine. So the differential case is a strong outer housing that holds the differential gears inside. Also, Happy Forgings makes railway components like camshafts, connecting rods, piston pins, and spacers. In wind energy, the company manufactures components like planet carriers and pinion shafts, whereas in oil and gas, the company is moving toward precision-engineered valves. So gradually, the company is expanding beyond auto into non-auto segments like industrial, energy, power, oil and gas, and heavy engineering applications. This product shift is very important because not all products have the same margin profile. Basic forged products are more commodity-like, but crankshafts, machine components, heavy industrial components, precision valves, wind components, and large crankshafts for gensets are more value-added. Higher machining content means better realization, and better realization can support better gross margins and EBITDA margins. Now, one major capacity addition is the new 10,000 ton press, which became operational from Q4 FY26. This will be used mainly for industrial and commercial vehicle segments. The company is also moving into large crankshafts used in heavy genset applications. Gensets are basically generators which are used in data centers. Now this is important because data center growth is increasing, demand for large backup generators, and those large generators need large engines, which needs large crankshafts. Also, Happy Forgings is setting up a major heavyweight precision components facility. The company is investing around 650 crore rupees to build capability for 250 kilograms to 3000 kilograms forged and fully machined parts. This facility is expected to be among the largest in Asia and globally one of the largest in its category. This is a very important shift because the company earlier worked largely in smaller product categories, but now it is moving toward 2-ton and even 3-ton components. And this is where the company's capital allocation track record becomes important. A small company cannot simply install heavy product lines unless it has strong cash flows, strong margins, and confidence in demand. Happy Forgings has historically shown strong capital allocation. It has healthy and best in the industry margins, which we will discuss further, and generates enough cash flow visibility to take these larger Capex decisions. Another interesting thing is that Happy Forgings is the second company in India to have a 14,000 ton press, only behind Bharat Forge, which has a 16,000 ton press. And investors, we also find these small cap, micro cap and SME opportunities at an early stage through our research services, Emerging Titans and Tiny Titans. Emerging Titans is mainly built for mainboard small and mid cap companies, while Tiny Titans focuses purely on SME listed stocks. Across both services, you receive detailed research reports, entry and exit strategy, allocation guidance, and regular updates. So if you want to be part of our research community, you can visit valueeducator.com or check the link in the description. We follow our sprint strategy framework to discover such niche stocks with strong potential. Now let's look at the revenue mix. Exports are around 18% and are mainly to Europe and the US. Export demand was weak till Q2 because US and European companies had low growth expectations. But in Q3, demand expectations started improving, which is a good sign. Management expects FY27 to see some uplift as major customers are expecting better growth. The company's revenue is still meaningfully linked to commercial vehicles and farm equipment, but the future mix is expected to shift. Farm equipment may remain around 32%, while off-highway stays around 12%. Industrials including energy, power, oil and gas, and heavy gensets may rise from around 14% toward 27 to 30%. Commercial vehicles may reduce from around 38% toward 27%. Passenger vehicles may increase from around 6% toward 10%. The company expects FY27 revenue to be around 800 crore rupees. And also the company has gained market share across key categories. In passenger vehicles, market share has increased from around 32% to 47%. In commercial vehicles, especially medium and heavy commercial vehicles, market share has moved from around 32% to 42%, whereas in farm equipment, market share has moved from around 41% to 45%. This shows that the company is not just benefiting from industry growth, it is also gaining share. Now the raw material side is also important. Happy Forgings largely consumes alloy steel, and alloy steel grades manganese, chromium and stainless steel in specific products. Steel price movement is largely passed on to customers, usually with around 1 month lag. Now let's have a quick look at power cost. Power cost is around 6% of total cost and fuel cost is around 1%. Even if fuel prices rise sharply, the total cost impact remains limited because fuel is a small part of total cost. The company has also taken price hikes of around 3.5 to 4% due to cost increases, which proves that the company is able to pass on the cost. Now there is another interesting and important global angle. Most forged products imported into the US come from China and Brazil. But under the current tariff situation, Indian forged products are expected to face around 18% custom duty, while competitors like China and Brazil are facing around 50% custom duties. This creates a clear relative advantage for Indian forging companies. Another driver is the China Plus One, wherein global OEMs are increasingly looking to diversify sourcing away from China. Now, crankshafts are not easy products to shift quickly because qualification cycles are long. So once an Indian supplier is approved, the customer relationship can become sticky. So let's look at an interesting point. Tata Motors' acquisition of Iveco's CV business. Now this can be seen from two angles. Firstly, the positive view is that Tata may need higher CV production, new engine platforms, export-focused manufacturing, and global scale component sourcing. In that case, Happy Forgings can benefit because it is already an approved supplier for critical crankshafts. Tata may prefer increasing localization through a trusted Indian supplier rather than importing expensive European components. But there is also a risk. Iveco already has established European supplier ecosystems. And through this acquisition, Tata may gain access to global forging suppliers, advanced powertrain vendors, and existing crankshaft sourcing networks, so sourcing patterns can gradually change over time. However, replacing Happy Forgings will not be easy. Heavy crankshaft manufacturing has high entry barriers, precision machining requirements, and multi-year OEM approvals. So this is a double-edged development. It can increase opportunity, but it also needs monitoring. Now coming to capacity. The company is expanding both forging and machining capacity. Forging capacity is expected to move from around 1,47,000 tons currently to 1,61,000 tons in FY27 and 1,87,000 tons in FY28. Machining capacity is expected to move from around 68,000 tons currently to 82,000 tons in FY27 and 87,000 tons in FY28. Current realization is around 245 rupees to 250 rupees per kilogram. Quarter-wise, FY26 realizations were stable around 245 rupees, 251 rupees, 239 rupees and 245 rupees per kilogram. But the newer products and segments can have realization as high as 340 rupees to 350 rupees per kilogram. Legacy products like front axle beams may have lower realization around 180 rupees to 220 rupees per kilogram because machining content is lower. So as the revenue mix shifts toward crankshafts, industrials and heavy machine products, realization and margins can improve. In Q4, the company saw strong domestic volume growth. Commercial vehicle volumes grew around 27%, heavy commercial vehicle growing around 18.55%. PV volumes grew around 35%. Industrials grew around 32% in the quarter and around 59% year-on-year in that segment, driven partly by AI and data center demand, whereas off-highway declined around 6%, while exports still saw degrowth, with commercial vehicle exports down around 25%, but expectations for FY27 are better. Now let's discuss Capex. The company has acquired 80 acres of land for a captive solar power plant expected to commence operations in Q3 FY27. This can reduce power cost by around 25 to 30 crore rupees from Q1 FY28, and that is important because lower power cost will directly lead to higher operating margins. The heavy forging capex of around 650 crore rupees is focused on large and heavy products used in data centers, heavy gensets, marine, oil and gas, and nuclear applications. This capex was announced around February 2025 and the timeline has been maintained. The machinery is expected to be in place by Q4 FY27. Trials may start from Q1 FY28 and execution from Q3 FY28. Now, you all may have a question that data center demand is rising now, but our capacity for heavy product will be operational in FY28. Is it okay? So let's understand that this delay is not really a company-specific problem. Even genset OEMs and large engine manufacturers, as well as all the transformer manufacturers, for example, have long production timelines, and all of these products have long trial and approval phase before execution. So it's an industry-wide problem. The company has also planned special capex of around 80 crore rupees for the passenger vehicle segment. Now let's take a look at clients. Happy Forgings has added notable customers in recent years, including Tata Cummins, Bonfiglioli Transmissions, IBCC Industries, and Liebherr CMC Tech India. The company also has long-standing relationships with Dana India and VE Commercial Vehicles for more than 21 years. It has relationships of more than 10 years with major customers like Ashok Leyland, JCB India, and Mahindra & Mahindra. Now this matters because in forged components, especially crankshafts and heavy machine parts, customer stickiness is a strong moat. Now let's compare competitors. Bharat Forge is the biggest forging player in India. It caters to auto, defense and aerospace. Its revenue is much larger and its total capacity is around 8 lakh tons. But EBITDA margins are around 17%. Ramkrishna Forgings is the second major player with exposure to commercial vehicles, railways and non-auto. It has around 4 lakh tons capacity, including forging and casting, EBITDA margins around 22% and a large order book. It also has a rail wheel JV which can become a completely new revenue stream. But recently there was an inventory discrepancy issue leading to a 200 crore rupees net worth impact which the promoter had to address. After the competitor's analysis, can now observe that Happy Forgings, even though it is much smaller, it has margins around 30% while larger players are closer to 17 to 22%. This tells us that Happy Forgings is not competing only on scale, but it is competing on product mix, precision machining, customer approvals and value addition. Now coming to future outlook. The company's next growth phase can come from industrials, especially data center generator crankshafts, wind energy shafts, oil and gas components, marine, nuclear and heavy engineering. In farm equipment also, the company is moving toward high horsepower segments. Earlier, standard crankshafts were in the 30 to 75 horsepower range, but the company has received orders for 500 horsepower applications, which is a very niche area. The company also has opportunities in heavy products ranging from 250 kilograms to 3000 kilograms. These can be used in marine and large industrial applications. FY27 EBITDA margin is expected to remain around 28 to 32%, for which support can come from better export product mix, scrap price recovery and power cost reduction through the solar plant from Q1 FY28. Financially, the company has an order book of around 950 crore rupees. Out of this, around 250 crore rupees belongs to heavyweight data center related products, where product weight can range from around 700 kilograms to 1.8 tons. This gives around 2 to 3 years of revenue visibility. Now, risks are also important. The biggest long-term risk is EV penetration because electric vehicles do not need crankshafts. But for Happy Forgings, this risk is not immediate because the company generates a large part of revenue from commercial vehicles and farm equipment, which contributes around 70% of total revenue. But these are the segments where EV penetration is still very low. In the commercial vehicle segment, EV's share is only around 1.83%. And tractors' EV share is currently less than 1%. Second risk is cyclicality. Commercial vehicle demand can be cyclical, farm demand depends on rural factors, and exports can fluctuate based on Europe and US demand. Third risk is Capex execution. The company is entering heavier products and data center related crankshafts, but these products require long trials, approvals, and customer ramp up. So, the main thesis is simple. If Happy Forgings can successfully execute its heavy forging Capex, scale crankshafts, increase industrial revenue mix, improve realizations and maintain margin discipline, then the company can move from being seen as an auto cycle play to a broader precision engineering and industrial manufacturing play. But investors need to monitor exports recovery, Capex execution, customer approvals, commercial vehicle cycle, EV risk, and whether the industrial segment actually scales as expected. Because the opportunity is strong, but the execution has to match the ambition. We identify such small cap, micro cap, and SME companies early through our research services, Emerging Titans and Tiny Titans. Emerging Titans is mainly built for mainboard small and mid cap companies, while Tiny Titans focuses purely on SME listed stocks. Across both services, you receive detailed research reports, entry and exit strategy, allocation guidance, and regular updates. So if you want to be part of our research community, you can visit valueeducator.com or check the link in the description. We follow our sprint strategy framework to discover such niche stocks with strong potential. That's it for today's video. If you found this detailed breakdown useful, then like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below sprint if you like the detailed research. We will meet again next Saturday with another video at 11 AM.